Welcome to Drawing by the Sea. Today we're looking at some pebbles and shells and thinking about the basic shapes and how they can help us in our drawing. So if we take a little look at this shell and think about the outside edges, the basic shape is actually a cone shape. So even though it's got these spirals, the basic shape fits into a cone. And that's what, when you're drawing it, you always need to think and have a look at those spirals. And the centre here should match up with the top there. Whereas if we look at this shape, roughly fits into a triangle. On the other hand, this beautiful shell is more fan shaped. And then all of the lines meet back in the centre here. And all of your curves need to run back to the centre. Okay. So these are our basic shapes. This is a drawing I did earlier of this shell, and it was in fact this way up. I've done a few different things this time in this session, and one of them is to place everything onto a grid background, the squared background. This is just quite a good tool for learning how to draw and getting the right shape of object. And as I mentioned before, we're going to use a grid method for drawing. And what that means is that on our page we can look at these centimetre grid patterns and see how big the shell is on the page. So roughly we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 grids wide by 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 grids tall. So I'm just going to use my very hard pencil to make marks, and for each centimetre I'm going to blow up the drawing to be 3 centimetres. So we're going to mark this along the page. 1 centimetre. 2, 3, 4, and then going up. So again, for each centimetre I'm using 3 centimetres. So you could in fact increase the drawing and it could be even more detailed, so by using more grids into your grid. Okay, and we were going into the 5th grid there. Right, so we're going to start drawing this shell. I'm going to start with my 2B pencil, and we're going to just map out where things should go in the image. So if we take a look really close, we've got this, the tip of the shell here is in the last bottom square, okay? So it's into the middle of the square, so we need to end the shell just in from there, roughly, okay? Now this is actually quite a soft pencil, so why don't we start with our hard pencil, just so that we can get some light lines down. And then you can see this section, this middle section. We've got 1, 2, 3 sort of main parts. And this is our... So our first part of the shell comes into finishing about here, say, and then in this last box, in this next box, the next section of shell appears, and it ends up in this top hand corner, roughly. Okay. This next line goes from the middle and goes into this area, goes down to meet it. Okay, our third section of the shell goes into our second square. We'll just see it ends here, roughly. And then the large part of the shell, you'll see the base of it is in the bottom here. This edge is into this next square, and then the major sort of ear of the shell, I'll call this, actually comes into 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th. Right now I'm sketching the base of the shape here and not the inner edge yet, okay? And then again this angle in here. In fact, that's only 1 square, so it's a lot smaller. Okay, I think that's a rough outline, but as we go along we can adjust it if we feel the shape isn't working for us. So now I'm going to take that inner line of the shell and we'll start here with the edge. It's very important that you keep looking to be able to see the lines and the patterns that are formed. So I'm going to go back to this bit and I can see 1, 2, 3 sort of ridges on this section. Go in with a bit more shade. So what I mean by shade is our dark and light areas of the shell. And this is how you get your three-dimensional shape, by adding tone to your drawing. Now we've got some curves here, and the curves help us see that the shape is, comes out, it's bulbous. And I'm going to think about where they should go now. Right, so in this crevice, it's really dark, so we want to build up some shade in here. And each of these ridges has a very dark side and a very light side. So I'm going to add the dark side. We also have lines and curves coming this way all the way round the body of the shape. And you can see I'm just changing this line here because I believe it should be parallel to this curve here. So we can, using our darker pencil, can eliminate that line, and I just want to add just some soft lines. And again, you can just see a very faint darkness inside the shell. And I can see another ridge here. Whole shell. The inner section of the shell has some shading. And how you represent the shading is up to you. I do very close lines together, but another way of getting a very dark tone is to go in two directions, and this is what's known as cross hatching. You can see how that gives another texture as well. So the darker lines are nearer the centre, and as we come out to the outside, we lessen the pressure of the pencil. I'm going to take my 5B now to add some deeper tones. 2B again on this edge, and I can see a nice shadow running up the inside here. Just leaving a highlighted edge. Actually, now's the time to just bring in the white pencil, just to give that. And I can see this mark here I'm adding. Again, on this corner we have a very dark edge, so I'm going to add more tone. With our finer pencil, the F, I'm just going to go in and add some of the lines that go across here. Don't forget to look at the picture as a whole as well, every now and again, and to consider what needs adding. So I'm not quite happy with the centre. I think I need to bring down some of the shading. To this bit further in, because we do have this very dark section, but it is still darker inside than it is in some parts here, so I need to think about that too. So I'm very just softly bringing down the colour. And maybe even get the lighter pencil. H. Now we can also put in a few darker lines on the outside where we put the lines in the beginning.
And that's our shell drawing finished. Thank you for watching another step-by-step art session. See you next time.